Yo, yo, yo. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you're doing well. We're back for the stream of the week, last stream of the week. Thursday. One trading day left in this week. And I don't think I think I've literally only seen price move on Monday, and then after that, I don't think I really was on the charts for much of it. It's been one of those weeks. It's alright. How's everyone doing? Let's see how interactive chat is. How are people doing? How many people do we have now? We have 6 people. Alright. Chat is not moving, which is normal. It's okay. Yeah, but hope everybody's doing okay. I know gold moved quite a lot, I think, recently, so we'll see kind of what it's up to, where it's pushed to, what levels it's kind of reacting off of, but yeah, we'll do the analysis. Should be good. Got 5% today. Jamal, 5%. Were you risking 5%? Were you risking 1%? You made 5%? Or was it multiple positions and then it added up to 5%? But regardless, man, 5% is 5%. Well done, well done. It's more than the bank gives you an entire year, right? Have you been on the streams before, Jamal? Three positions, so yeah, like a 1.7 each sort of deal. Three positions, yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. Good risking. Ah, congrats, Eddie. 50k funded is huge. That's right, Jamal. Just whenever you have time to come on streams, right? It's just hopefully I'm able to impart some knowledge to you. And Eddie, congrats, man. Thing is, if you're funded on a 50k, technically, right? If you have the skill, you have the skill for trading, right? Like that's all it is, right? If you're able to trade and get a 50k funded, it's just a number difference, right? Just a lot size difference, but eventually you'll be able to up that to whatever. But glad to see the breakdowns are helping you. That's always a positive. I think my own funded, which was, I think it was like down like 4 or 5%. Was it 6% or whatever? Now it's back up 1%. So I've had the account since January 1st. So just trading and just seeing wherever it goes, but hasn't hit, you know, the trade limit stops, right? And it hasn't hit, you know, the take profit area yet. So just waiting. Nothing much going on really. I'm understanding that if I'm profitable, eventually it'll hit that kind of. I've already forgotten what percentage I even need to get the account to. That's how bad it is. I just need to know. Well, I just know eventually I'll get an email that says either my account has been taken away or my account is now fully funded and I have a funded account to trade with. So I don't really know what's going on, to be honest. Either or, I'm just gonna trade the same. Doesn't really affect me. So yeah, that's that. Cool. Right, I'm probably just gonna get started. I think a lot of the Zoom boys aren't able to make it today. So welcome back, everyone. It is Thursday, so this is the last breakdown of the week. This is the second breakdown of the week, actually. But I'm understanding that I think you may have. Did you re-break the highs today? All-time highs? You did. Look at that. That's a massive candle. Massive candle rejection. Ooh. Okay, cool. Anyways, let's not get too excited, right? Monthly, I am still very, very bullish, right? I'm understanding I am above this range at 2150, so I'm bullish, right? But obviously, any given point, your monthly has no bottom wick. If it does flip, cool. We can look to take some sells on the monthly flip to come down towards here. Anything in between, there's no saying, like just based off the monthly candle, there's no idea of where price will actually go. So if I don't know what's happening here, I'm gonna stay out, right? Pretty simple. Weekly is interesting. Weekly, we are extremely bullish, right? We had a bottom wick that was for the previous week, and then now we're bullish to come up, right? I remember saying that, you know, this is a specific level on some smaller time frames as well, and because of that, your weekly actually closed respecting level. And now we're likely going to get a candle closure which is bullish, maybe even above the range, right? Depending on what's kind of happening. But overall, I'm still pretty bullish for the weekly, right? Any given point, this weekly can close, you know, anywhere in this kind of body, right? But I'm understanding that we've come up to re-break all of these highs. So your next move, right? You're continuing this bullish market structure. So your next move is probably just a retracement before you're able to retest those highs. So if that's the case, I'm still going to be looking for buys, but I'm understanding that this is going to be the last day of the week, so the Friday. So there may be a chance price is going to come back for, you know, to leave a top wick, right? But you have a top wick for the weekly, so, you know, the next day essentially you can't really determine too much just based off the weekly. But ideally for the weekly, we get a bullish closure above the range, right? That would be the most simple most simple closure we can possibly get, right? And that's going to be something that looks like this. That's perfect, right? Because we're understanding that any given point where price is currently, which is here, if it comes up to here, right, means that on the smaller time frame, you probably had a bullish closure that looks like this, right? And if that's the bullish closure and you had a range above here, then maybe you have a breakout looking for a bottom wick and then a reflip to continue going up, right? So if that's what we're expecting, then yeah, cool. I'm still bullish, right? And on the daily, that's going to give us a lot more information as to where we might go, what levels we're potentially respecting. But let's go to the daily. Daily, I think, is closed bearish, which is very interesting, right? Because we're bearish back into the range, sort of. I would say just based off the daily, I'm not going to be able to say that this is specifically the top of the range. I would say it is, right? You broke above, you filled. I'm muted on Zoom. All right, there you go, Tom. Now you can hear me. But yeah, so on your weekly, right, you were really bullish to continue going up, right? But on your daily, it's looking like you have a massive rejection. How many pips was this? That was a 370 pip rejection. So what are the chances that tomorrow's candle is going to continue pushing upwards, right? I'm understanding that, you know, we're still bullish overall to continue up, but that doesn't mean that on the smaller time frame you're constantly going up, right? There's going to be pullbacks, there's going to be retracements, all of these things until you get to liquidity points, which is probably where you need to get to before you're able to continue driving bullish. But just off the daily, it's a little bit unclear to me, right? Exactly where we might go, because the monthly, the weekly are in the kind of bullish direction, but your daily's, you know, a little bit more bearish. I would say you're actually quite bearish for your daily. So I'm gonna need the smaller time frames to kind of determine where price is gonna go, and that's gonna be the 4 hour, right? So let's have a look. 4 hours, interesting. I'm understanding that you have kind of level around here. Any given point, right? This is a closure back into the range, but I would say you also are respecting this. So this is the 4-hour range I would say you're in, right? So between 87 and 76. So if that is the kind of range you're in, right? You've come down, you've grabbed liquidity, but you've closed respecting. So I mean, high chance you're gonna come up to fill the top of the range, right? So you know what is this range? This range is 47, right? So I can't take the buys, but I'm understanding there's a high chance you're going to come up to fill this range before you're able to flip, because it's your daily candle as well, right? So you have no bottom wick on your daily candle. Any given point, daily could flip bearish, right? And fill the wick to the left, which is this. And that would take you down towards these sort of levels here, right? Like I would say this bottom of the range at 2169. So I'm at the moment very bearish to come down because you have a massive bearish rejection. But until you really re-break this low, the actual market structure isn't really determined yet, because you've had this massive pull up, right? Price is rejecting to come, but this could be a higher low, and then if you start retesting these highs, then yeah, you could see a pretty nice drive to continue going back up. What I would say though is you could also be looking for, you could be in a situation to look for buys above 2187 to come up to fill this range as well. Like you have this top of the wick here, which is around 78 pips, and then you know the kind of next resistance area is around this kind of 1400 pips area, well 140 pips, and then 200 pips here. But overall, how am I going to need to get these buys above, right? I'm going to need to look left, right? Last time you were able to close above here on your smaller time frame to continue driving up, you probably needed liquidity in these areas here. So if this is your liquidity grab to go up, right, what I'd like to see next is probably a closure above, and then a bottom wick that probably will need to create a bottom wick for the daily. So if your 4-hour ends up closing like this, right, above the range, what I'll need is a 4-hour that comes down, breaks the lows, and then reflips bullish. And then what I'll be able to take, right, is probably anywhere from here, right, top of the range to here. And that, for me, let's see how many pips that is. That is a nice 40 pip move, which is fantastic. And that's, you know, exactly what I'll be looking for on the smaller time frame for buys. Right, for sells, obviously we can look for positions as well, because I'm more bearish as well, right? But ideally you also tap into this top of the range, I would say. So if your daily can continue to have no bottom wick, that's fantastic, right? Any given point, price driving up all the way to these areas, all the way to here, and then flipping bearish, right? You only have one place to go after it does that. All right, and that's going to be a fill of this range, first of all, from here to around this bottom of the range area here, right? And after that, you have your wick fill down to here, right? So the ranges between 2176 and 2169 are also very clean. So your first range, if you take the daily flip, it's going to be around 45, right? And then after that, you have from 45 all the way down here, which is like 70, which, you know, they're both relatively clean ranges, but ideally you get this top wick that will confirm price wants to continue coming down, right? And if it starts coming bearish, right, I'm understanding that at any given point, this is going to be the start of next week's candle, which may start with a bottom wick first. And if it does, fantastic, right? Then that means we can look for buys once the next week's candle starts flipping, starts pushing up again. So let's look at the smaller time frames, because all of these time frames, I wouldn't say you have any structure, right? You finally formed a support. I'd say this is your support, right? Where's the resistance, right? So just based on the 4-hour, I don't really have any information. But let's go to your 1 hour. 1 hour is going to give me more info. Very interesting, very interesting. Yeah, okay, so I would say you probably have, I mean, this is probably a level as well. You have some pretty interesting levels. I would say on your hourly, you still don't have enough information. But if you take, on your hourly, right, because obviously these ranges are quite big at the moment, because these pushes are huge. Like this 1 hourly candle, I don't know, what did this push? This hourly candle pushed like 160 pips, Jesus. All right, but, you know, obviously this hourly has no bottom wick. Any given point, it can flip to come down because your last 2 candles have closed bearish. But, you know, is this going to be the daily flip you're going to take, right? I'm asking myself that. I'm asking myself, right, if this was the 4 hour, I'm looking at, this is literally a flip from this point. Am I going to take that? Most probably not. So I'm going to need to see at least tap at the top of the range, which is this 87, ideally up at this 95 area, right? But depending on the structure as well. So if you tap into this 87 area and then you start coming down, let's have a look to see what that looks like on the hourly, right? Because last time you were in this range, you come up and you come down, you tap into maybe these areas is good, maybe these areas is also not bad. But in this case, this wick here, you're in this range, right? These wicks here, you're kind of just already kind of consolidating around there. So I would say it's slightly more difficult. If you do get breakouts below 2176, we could be looking for top wick areas around here, right? This wouldn't be bad, but until that happens, not much we can do. And just based off your hourly, I wouldn't say you formed a bit of a resistance, not much of a support yet, because your hourly no bottom wick, likely it's going to come down, and it hasn't really struggled anywhere yet, right? Like it's kind of just trickled here for the last bit of volume for the session. But on your 30, I mean, I'm probably going to put it around there. Yeah, this whole range is not that clean. So I'd like to stay out of this range if possible. Let's have a look. I just want to identify what this is. Is that a range? Could be a range. Somewhere around there. Yeah, it's not the cleanest for me, right? Especially the 4 hour and the hourly. They're not the cleanest. So I can't look for sells below here until you tap into, probably this 87 area, right? A minimum is the break of these highs, but even if a break of these highs, like you probably, I would need to see like a nice rejection here, then probably a closure below 80, right? Something like this, and then I'll probably look for a top wick to come down. So if this happens, then yeah, maybe, right? After tapping into these areas. But yeah, until that happens, I can't really take sells. And I can't take buys obviously, because I'm going to need more confirmations for that. And that'll be probably a closure above, like this, right? A closure above comes back down, creates a bottom wick, because this would be a bottom wick for the daily, because it's your daily, right? Creates a bottom wick, and then once you reflip bullish, right, and then you start pushing above those highs, then yeah, probably good to go. But yeah, I would say that's basically it. Price, again, just in terms of market structure and cycles, right? I would say you're probably not hunting at the moment. You're probably waiting for price to do something, right? Whether that be, consolidate for a little bit longer and then you're waiting for the liquidity move, or you're anticipating liquidity, so you're looking for liquidity and then a refill of the range, right? So what that could potentially look like is price doing something like this, right? Like you're pushing up, you start, oh wow, like we're filling this range here, like all the way up, right? And then you're respecting something like here, and then you get candle that rejects quite heavily like this, right, to start coming down, right? So what I would look for is probably then a re-break into this area, right, after a top wick, and then I can look for potentially this to come down. But for this, I'm going to need a lot of I'm going to need a steeper top wick for this, because any given point this could be a fake out to go back up, right? So this could look like this, start going up, right? And I don't want that, right? If this comes down, creates a bottom wick, I'm anticipating that it will create a bottom wick anyways, right? So you could maybe look to just fill this range here. But I think the more solid trade could be once you start re-breaking into below 2180 down to this area, and that could be relatively good traffic for you, because then you're breaking structure. And on your lower time frame, it would just be this wick here, right? But I'm understanding if we want to go up, we're going to need a bottom wick for the daily, right? Just because of how the daily looks, right? Your daily looks like this. You're so bearish, right? If you want to continue taking buys, I'm going to need a pretty steep bottom wick for us to continue going up, right? And this bottom wick, right, I put it in this area, which is kind of similar to where this next resistance area is, but just in general, I'm going to need some liquidity before I'm able to go up. And this could be liquidity for us to go up to these points, and then your 4 hour may take over, right? And then your 4 hour may start doing something like this, right? And then you may start coming down for the rest of the day, right? And if that's the case, cool. We'll look to take more sells on the re-break the lows, right? But overall, I'm understanding that wherever price needs to go, you need to grab liquidity. So hence, we're kind of in that consolidation phase and cycle of the market, and that's why I'm not really hunting at the moment. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Levels aren't too clear today. I would say the overall analysis in terms of clarity at the moment, just price action clarity, 6 out of 10. Right, I'm not too sure where it can go, up or down, right? Because the time frames aren't really aligning up too much at the moment. If your daily flips now, then even more, I can't take anything. If it comes down, re-breaks some of these lows, or comes all the way down to these areas and then reflips bullish, then yeah, maybe I can look to take that. But until that happens, either direction could be price action at the moment. But yeah, cool. Let's see what Johnny and Tom are up to. Jacob's not here for once. Yo,
how you?
wow, you are quiet. Is the music really loud?
It's not crazy loud in mine.
Yeah, it seems alright.
Okay. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Ah, man. Hectic week. I think this is the first time I've actually done a proper analysis besides Sunday, so... And did we do a proper analysis on Monday? I think we did, yeah.
Have you been more busy this year?
Yeah, I think that's... I don't know, because I feel like I'm taking up more stuff at work, but I'm also trying to do more stuff at DVS. So, in terms of like a time management sort of thing, like...
You already had like no time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have just enough time to complete like everything, I would say, but that means I have no time to like chill. And then like, for example, like this morning I left my my laptop charger at work, so I had to wake up at 6 to go get that and then come back home to work. And like when you have like emergencies like that, it just doesn't help the situation. But yeah.
Were you trading today?
I traded a bit. Let's have a look at what positions I had were. I think I took some sells down. 15 maybe? Like these? Maybe? Let me check. Did you guys have anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah, it's just this.
But there was another position that I should have had that I forgot the daily didn't have a bottom wick. So I didn't get the free 20 pips for the daily flip.
Yeah, look at that rejection, man. That was what was this? I'm assuming it's news.
Yeah.
But not really. I mean, the news candles were barely driving themselves.
Okay.
Nah.
It just kind of the
mad.
news set direction more than
I'm
the
getting
news
mixed
driving.
reviews. It was news good or was no direction?
News was good.
$1
Good for
wasn't it?
dollar.
Yeah.
Twice. But like
Okay. So this
the
was not
actual
news then?
news pushes were not big.
Yeah. Okay. So this was the news push. Oh, wait,
Huh?
no. This was the news push.
Yeah.
But like news was at 12:30, and if you
Nah,
go
it's
on the
been
5 at
45.
12:30, like it was not big, right?
And then you rebroke the lows and you just started pumping.
And then there was one at 1:45 as well.
Yeah. The 1.1 one just like confirmed that it was going down because it was.
Okay, yeah. Because it did this and then yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the only trade I got was like I was basically like I wanted to take something here, but I don't think I could because like you didn't really rebreak
If it had
these
broken
highs.
the highs first, then I would
Yeah.
have taken a
Was
sell.
Nothing
when it
there.
broke below like
This also
97.
closed no real bottom wick. I think. Daily flip I think was probably okay to fill this range down, which it literally tapped on the dot. But I think like this was relatively clean, right? You came down, and as it was coming up, it's taking like a re-break of the lows to come down. Or I took a wick entry, I think, and then I took another wick entry here, which was quite lucky. I just wanted to take one at the top of the range here, So got that, and I closed like 10 and then 10 on this other position down here as well, but that's about it.
I was not enjoying that one. I
The
wouldn't-
drawdown one.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna wait for a bit of a top wick here. I
Mm.
waited.
Which
I
drawdown?
got
The
the
one that
flip.
Don was in.
Yeah, but I missed the first half of it because I waited for the flip,
Mm.
and then it flipped. Drove like, I don't know, 6 pips or something,
Yeah.
and
then it
then
went back up.
and then just reflipped, and I was like,
Yeah.
ah, this is done. Like we're
Yeah.
coming back up.
Just
Yeah.
like I got out break even once you broke the lows, I was like, yeah, at least break even, then just came back up, stopped me out. So I was like, yeah, whatever, call it a day there.
Yeah, fair. Yeah,
Especially after like such a steep topic as well. I was like, such a steep top with a flip, then a break of lows.
What a
I was
would
expecting
say,
not
though.
driven.
surviving. Yeah,
We're
so
screwed. Yeah.
as soon as it came back up, I was like, nah, that's not it.
What I would say though, you finally have some like higher time frame movement, right? So if you look at like your daily, you finally have daily liquidity potentially to drive down to fill this range, right? So down to 2155. So if that is the case, we'll look for another top wick and then to come down. But like in terms of price moving, like, you know, all of this was just very clear direction, right? And if we were consolidating here, this is our first actual move outside of the range to come back in. So high chance this will be liquidity for us to fill down. If it fills down, right, our weekly is also down to here. So what you'll likely, I mean, what I think could happen is you could get a bullish closure, but a pretty weak bullish closure, like I'm a rejection candle almost, like this.
Yeah.
And if you get something like this on your open, right? I'm not saying that I'm not bullish. I'm still fucking bullish, but any given point, price will probably come down to fill this range first and then flip, right? So there will be probably some sells you can take from here to here, and then as you're then reflipping, you can probably take the buys from here to go up to fill this range, right? So just in terms of the cadence of things, right? Like, because if you're looking at your 4 hour and your 1, when was the last time we had such a massive 4 hour candle? Right, none of this. All of the 4 hour candles were bullish that were going up. Like these, not as big as this, right? This is massive rejection. So the fact that you're rejecting, come back in, and you haven't like instantly gone back up to start retesting the highs means that you're probably struggling and you need liquidity to go up. So if you need liquidity to go up or you're coming down, then you're in a situation where looking for sells to come down to fill this range is pretty solid, right? And you're ideally, right, if we're following the kind of ideas of liquidity, you're probably looking for liquidity outside this range now for you to start pumping up. So then you're looking for sells between here and like potentially these areas, which is nice range, very nice range. But that means that next week could be quite nice to trade. I mean, tomorrow could be quite nice as well, but I don't know. Friday moves.
Jerome's speaking tomorrow.
Oh, is he actually? Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Man. We told him to shut up. Oh, I was
So
about to search Jerome.
if it works, if he says the same stuff as what was it, Wednesday, it might go up.
Tomorrow, what time?
1.
1. Okay.
I've not said the same thing at this point.
I mean, he only spoke Wednesday. Why does he need to speak again?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, like if we can get top wicks to come down, that'd be so nice. Like just, if this daily can close like this, with like a top wick like this, that would be so ideal. Let me just redraw that in terms of like this. Like if your daily can do like a closure below here, just, right, and then like a top wick that looks like this, probably like something like this, I'd say. That'd be good. I don't want it to like respect this in terms of the wick, because then you could be rejecting off of this point. I'd like it to break, and then that means that if it does re-break this, you have clean traffic to come down to here, right? So that's, you know, what I'd like to see. I'd also like a wick fill, so anything from here to here is also nice. but ideally you just close below this range here, and like if you do, you have direction once you have this. If you don't have this though, you don't necessarily have direction. You could start driving back up, and this could be your rejection. But yeah, like hopefully we get some big moves tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, prices, I would say, like, because you were never going to be bullish forever, right? So the fact that you're stopping now is probably quite a good thing as well. Like, you know, you're starting to do something else besides just driving straight up. But the drive here was, like, you didn't really grab much liquidity. Like, if this was liquidity, you would have seen this drive, right? But you didn't do anything.
That was just news.
Was this news?
No, the drive up.
This. Oh,
Yeah,
was
it's
this FOMC?
FOMC.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Which is
Maybe
why
just
I'm like,
correcting it.
if Jerome base says the same thing, we might just go up again.
Yeah, maybe. Things you never know. Jerome can say the same thing and like it could go straight down.
Yeah, true.
That's what's like so horrible about news. Like you can say, yeah, it's, you know, a lot of people who bet on news are just like, yeah, like their win rate is low, but when they win a lot, and they try to keep their stops really tight because they know the win rate isn't going to be very high.
And even if when it hits the stop, it's going to slip it back.
Yeah, exactly.
And it will just reverse and go like 100 pips. No profit afterwards.
Yeah. Was there anything you could do for FOMC? No, you respected this. You couldn't do anything there. I mean, maybe take the rebreak this high, but then once you closed above this, you maybe could have taken this to fill this range.
I think I saw like
That's 30, 26.
I think I watched it live. I think it was Wix's stream. He like covered FOMC,
Okay.
and he just took like on the 1 minute a rebreak of the highs and closed out at like 20 or 30 bits. And we're just like, yeah, call it a day there. It's just mad, really, if you think about it.
Oh, this was FOMC. Jesus.
Oh yeah, he does that when it rebreaks its high on the news push.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's like what, a couple minutes worth of work, and then it's like, okay, we'll call it there. This is mental.
Yeah.
So
Like
sick.
this one, right? Was it 6 p.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, so he took this rebreak of this high. Did he go into drawdown then for like 14?
I can't remember the sort of exact. It might not even been a closure. It might have literally just been like.
I don't
Rebreak
think
of
it,
the current
the
high.
idea isn't to take the closure, it's to just take the rebreak of the
Structural
high after
break.
the,
Yeah.
whatever it makes in the first minute
Yeah.
candle.
Mm.
But yeah, like, because this minute also closed above this range. But yeah, now we're just analyzing the minute. But yeah, I think that's pretty clean.
But I mean, you sort of can because it.
Yeah, because it's news. You
The
have so
1
much
minute
volume.
during news with the volume is like an hourly candle almost.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly. Nothing's happening here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe tomorrow you just get absolutely nothing, and then Jerome will speak, and then you'll get a bit of a move, but no actual direction. Maybe because it's Friday and you just don't know where this weekly's going to close. But yeah, at the moment, there's less than no direction. There's like complete ambiguity in price action at the moment.
Am I like correct in thinking that when we have a move like today, where we get news and it just keeps pushing, we're sort of quite likely to get no top wicks for the push. So then, because of that, I didn't take any sales on the 1 hour. But then, sort of adapting to that, I moved down the 15 and was looking for like a closure and then some sort of top wick and then rebreak of those.
Like this to come down.
Yeah, that was my position, yeah.
I would say this was okay because you're breaking into this range, right? You're in between like, I would say if anything, you're in between like here and here. Right, so if you're understanding that you've closed into this range, you've come all the way back up, right? So thing is you filled the entire range. What did it look like on the 5? Like this. Like you maybe could have taken like this after it came up and like rebreak of this low, because then maybe
Yeah.
you're looking for closures below here. But I would say, yeah, ideally if there was a closure here on like the 5 or the 15 on like a higher time frame with a top wick afterwards to re-break, that would have been nice, because all of this didn't have any top wicks, right? So if this had a massive top wick, like if it was just like this, right, and then you get a closure below here like this, I would have just taken this off the rip.
Yeah.
Right, like because there's no reason for you to re-break all this high and then now re-break these lows. But yeah, like I think that was the issue with this. But anything kind of below and like getting into this range is not bad. If you waited for the closure and then wick entry, that also would be okay. But just on 15, you don't really look on the 5, I guess, because your 5 did close bullish, respecting. But I don't know how much it matters. Essentially, you have like higher time frame.
But then when it re-breaks that bullish respecting candle,
yeah, I mean, it's,
right, you're then re-breaking the structure to come down.
But any given moment, right, what I would worry about is, because you're now showing signs that it could be potentially respecting, price could, end up doing something like, I mean, I'll just draw this entire thing out, right? So let's say it's done this. It's come down. You've closed now bullish, right, like this. And then you have a bearish closure that looks like this. And then you have like another, let's say this bearish, it comes down first, right? And then it starts closing bullish like this. But it comes down to do this, right? Taps this level and re-breaks this low. In this case, I'd be like, okay, then you're probably expecting another re-break of this high, right? But you're also in the trade now because you've taken this re-break low. What I would look for is probably the actual closure below. Like, I mean, this closed below, but not enough for me to justify taking it, I think. I would like to see a re-break low and the closure below here. So what that looks like is this. Like a re-break of this low. Just to confirm that it is making a lower low. And then just a closure, right? Just a closure and with a wick. Because then in this case, I'm understanding that, okay, you've re-broken this low, indicating there's a high chance you're going to continue pushing down because you've created a lower low. You've retraced, but you've still closed bearish overall. So your next candle, high chance is going to fill the wick. And I don't know if depending on what time frame it is, like if it's like the hourly closure, you may be looking for a top wick, right? But I think, yeah, like that would be the case if I see something like this, which is why I didn't take any of this. I think when I was looking at it, I took the some stuff within here instead on the 15, just because at this point you're re-breaking this low, you're breaking into this range now, and then look at this traffic. You don't have really any traffic until you get to like this point, right? So this is much cleaner traffic than this. So if we extend this, once you re-break this low, you're looking to fill this range down, right? So either re-break of this low, which I think I also took, because this was quite nice, because you came up, you closed above, right? Oh, actually, yeah. So I think the DonVo trade was like somewhere around like
It's just
here.
off rip on the opening of the
Was it off
Thursday.
rip? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was like a range 4 breakout or something.
Yeah. And then I took, well, I think I got a slightly better entry, like somewhere around there or whatever. And then I closed off full like here, because it re-broke the lows, right? I was like, okay, I closed half here, stops to break even, came up, fine, right? Nothing I can do. And then I was like, okay, so you've just done all of this structure here as well. Overall, what time was this as well? Yeah, this was like 5 minutes, right? And then until the hourly closure. You didn't really move too much on the hourly. Where is it? Yeah, hourly was going to close below. I was thinking that, there's a high chance that if your 30 closed that bearish, look at your 30 top wick, right, to come down. You're still looking to flip and fill this entire range. You rejected off of this point. What I was just looking for is, a top of the range entry for your next, because I'm understanding
If that doji bullish candle hadn't driven down so much, I would have taken an entry on that.
Yeah. It looked like on a 1. Yeah, the 1 was nice. I think I took it off of this. this, no top wick, came up all the highs, and then I think I took a position here when it came up to create that top wick. Because I'm understanding that if on your one, right, this one bullish candle was 13 pips. So that's my break even, right? And then I went break even.
What was your stop for this?
Stop was, I think, was literally like.
Is it just at the top of that?
This.
Yeah, okay.
I was gonna let it run for a little bit longer, but I wasn't expecting a massive push. Like I was expecting a range fill down to here, right? It's like from here to here. I was expecting this because, like, you know, if you're rejecting off of these areas and you're so bearish to come down, high chance you're gonna come down to fill the range and then do whatever you want, right? But it was also like what, nearly the hourly close. So if I'm anticipating a top wick, I don't want to be stuck in that. So I just closed off. Yeah, I mean, just on the 5 though, it wasn't too clean, I would say. It's not the cleanest 5. It's just you're so bearish, and then you started respecting like some of these levels. Like all of this, you were still like you weren't really breaking back into this range, because if you wanted to break back in, you would have closed above 2181. This level here. So yeah, it was just rejections. And then I took a re-break of this low, and I think I closed like break even, because I think it came back up actually. Probably got slipped or something. Maybe got in like somewhere around here and then it pushed and then came back up or something. I forgot what actually happened. Or was it this? Was it re-break this? I don't know. But yeah, just the main positions was this and then this to come down to around there. That was it. Cool. No Jacob today. Wow.
He can't have blown his account today.
I mean,
You never know.
you really never know, man. Man is a volatile trader.
This is when he says he took a wick entry on the 4-hour candle.
Imagine he took this wick entry sell.
Wick entry sell?
Like a wick, right? Like this is the wick and then just the sell. The thing is, like, I reckon so many people did, like, it just globally, right? I reckon so many people sold here.
What? It's sort of still in the clean traffic bit, right?
Yeah, like you're just thinking, oh wow, this is fantastic to sell. I mean, is there any justification to sell there? That's what I'm asking myself. Right, you have a nice 30 push, your 30 push down, next range kind of comes down to around here. You've already tapped this range. You didn't get another breakout. This is why breakouts are important during pushes. If you don't get breakouts, you have no confirmation that price will fill the next range, right? Like in this case here, you didn't get a closure, so you rejected and you went straight back up. Whereas in these cases, you got closures below. So even if you did come up to create top wicks, high chance you're going to come down to fill the range again, because you know you've closed within that range. So when you break into a range, right, like here, you typically do this, right? So if you haven't broken into this range, like, you know, let's say you're here and you just come up to tap and then you start rejecting, there's no guarantee that you're going to even come back. You can just do this. So the breakouts are really, really key. And one of the questions I actually asked Don previously is, like, when price is pushing like this, right? Let's say you have a range here. This is very useful, by the way. Like, this is a range. Let's say you have another range here, right? And like, let's extend this down to like here, right? And then you have like another range kind of like here, right? So you have like gaps in the middle, but that's just price pushing. This is extremely clean traffic, right? So literally no top wick, straight down. So in cases like this, when do we stop looking for sells? That was a question I had for him. It's like, if it's continuously pushing, when does it like make sense for us to just start looking for buys instead? And the answer is just, it's very simple, right? You need to see structure for buys. You can't just say like, oh yeah, it's dropped enough now, so need to get into a buy, but also when you stop getting closures below, right? Like this, got a closure below here, right? Like in terms of your smaller time frame, probably your 15 or whatever, you got closures below, right? Here you got a closure below here, closure into this range here, closure below the range, right? In this case, you closed, but your 15 probably was respecting something around these areas, right? So that's when you like these areas, right? So that's when you start understanding that you have some traffic around these areas, so you need a closure below. And I would say where you wanted it to close below is probably like a closure below here. And once you do close it below 2163, you probably have again a little bit more clean traffic to come down to here. But also I think like there is an element of how far can it push, and that also depends on liquidity, I would say, and the kind of clean traffic to the left. But yeah, like I wouldn't be looking for sells. Let's say like, you know, prices pushed all the way down to here now. Let's get rid of everything, right? Let's say price is now doing something like this, where you're actually you've closed bearish to do this, right? But let's say you have like a top wick, some level of top wick, and you've got a closure below here, right? I'm bearish, but how bearish, right? You've just got this massive move to come down. I'm understanding that you're probably very bearish, but to where, right? Like, you know, if I do want to come down to here, I'm going to need some liquidity. So that's going to be the form of the top wick, right? Come down and that'll be good. But until this happens, I'm still bearish, but I can't take anything because I don't know if it's going to continue pushing. I've got a breakout. That's why you have the top wick. So the combination of the two confirms that you're going to continue breaking structure, continue to you know, push. That was something I was extremely confused about previously, because he would say like, oh, there's clean traffic, and I would just look for clean traffic, and like I'd get into one trade after another. Like for example, days like this, if I was trading a year ago, I would have looked for like, oh yeah, look, you close below like some of these ranges here, clean traffic down, cool. Oh, close below here, clean traffic down, cool. Oh, close below here, clean traffic down. I just look for all of this, and then like once you get this closure below, I'd be like, oh yeah, clean traffic down, and then maybe I'd look for a small closure below, like somewhere around here, and look for like, oh yeah, I'm looking for these closures. But to some degree, right, you're gonna have to stop somewhere and just look at your higher time frames, and if it's respecting levels, then yeah, just wait for some top wicks to be provided. I don't know if you guys have experienced that issue as well, but
usually if I've seen it drive past the like initial points where I can sort of justify breaker structure taking the entries, then I usually just go, oh, I missed it, so fair enough, I'll leave it alone. I'd rather have missed it than get caught at the bottom of the wick.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're in here and then it actually starts rejecting, it's like
you're just gonna hit stops so quickly.
Yeah.
And it's your chance of coming back down is like 0.
Like the thing is, you would then need a pineapple, right? But then your pineapple doesn't exist until you maybe tap into like this area. So even if you were in the cell, you don't have a pineapple yet, and you're just sitting in drawdown for like 190 pips. There's just not much you can do. Because like you also, like, well, me ages ago, I'd be like, oh, I'd look for pineapples in between just because it's already moved another 60 pips. So surely, right? Surely you're gonna reject. So let's say you get into like a cell here, and then you get like into another cell. Like once it's doing this, like, oh, it's rejecting here, so I'm gonna get like I'm gonna take this off the rip, and then like my stop loss is gonna be like whatever, right? Let's just get rid of the stop loss so it's easier to see. But I'll get into another cell here, and it's like, oh fuck, no profits. And then it's like, oh, top of the range here, let's get into a cell, and it's like suddenly you're in 3 positions, none of which are actually gonna come back down, and there's high chance that they're just gonna hit stops.
Yeah,
Definitely done that before.
I've done that so many times.
I literally did that once, and you explained why that was such a bad idea. I haven't done that one since.
Yeah. Thing is, like, it's like I would say as like a beginner trader, it's not something you can easily avoid. because you're looking for very specific things maybe, and you're also, you know, susceptible to FOMO, and when price drives like that, you're like, like that's what I want, right? You want price to move really quickly in one direction so you can get out really quickly and make a lot of profits.
But you also want to get in at the right point.
Yeah. And that's the key thing.
If only that 4 hour had broken the highs,
Yeah.
then
I guess
then
this
it would have been so much nicer.
Yeah. I think this is actually
It wouldn't
quite
have even
rare.
needed to break that high, I don't think, for
No,
me.
no, definitely not that high. But
Just like
these highs
those
here,
two, yeah.
So, I mean, similar to what this was, right? Like, you had this high, not expecting to break this high, but then you create some structure here, break that
Break the
structure, right?
structure,
It's the
yeah.
structure you're
And then you
you're
just
worried
take the sell stop on the break of the lows after
about. Or
that.
the flip, man, it's so clean. I mean, this flip here was such a nice trade, to be honest. This, like, that was nice. Like, this structure here is nice. Like this as well. This is nice structure. But like this is where people get a little bit confused. Like, is this liquidity? Right? Is this liquidity for us to drive down? Right? I think
That is a
this
disgusting early candle.
yeah. But this is where it gets a little bit confusing, because, you know, you start slowing down a little bit. You're massive rejection to come down. You got a closure below, but like still kind of respecting here overall, I would say. But no bottom wick, and it's like you're now re-breaking the lows. Is that going to be, you know, you trying to come down on your higher time frames, because you get like, you know, overall bear structure to come down? But yeah, this is where you want to not be hunting. Just wait for price to actually consolidate a little bit more.
I think I was just looking for, like, today, like some sort of decent breakout, and then just looking at historical moves to the left,
Yeah.
seeing, okay, when we break into this range, what's the minimum amount that we push? Like, what's the minimum level that we'd like to see?
Yeah.
And it looked pretty clean in the 15 and 30s, so I was like, okay, yeah. Even if it does go in some sort of drawdown, creating that top wick, it's highly likely that we're going to fill before we start rejecting. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, the thing is also trading with the bias on days like this, so important. Because, like, if you're looking for a buy now, right, like within this entire push, you're thinking, oh yeah, like, yeah, price is going to go up, but you have to look at what's actually happened, right? You have this massive rejection. Prices failed to re-break the side. You have, like, you know, you've tried multiple times to go up, right, but you didn't. And that's when you have to understand that, okay, if it does flip bearish, you have to, you know, understand that this is probably a bearish move, and you're not, you know, continuing to look for those buys and tunnel vision into that. But cool. All right, gonna end it around here. Jacob has no questions, so we're gonna end a little bit early. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Sunday, and Tom will schedule that thing in as well for Saturday.
yeah, brilliant.
Johnny, you want a one-to-one sometime? Do you need a one-to-one?
Well, if I think
you have
of
any
anything,
questions,
then sure.
yeah.
But
Alright.
I don't want to waste your time, sort of thing.
No, I want to make time for you guys as well. But yeah, all right, cool. I'll speak to you guys soon then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Cheers
Yeah,
for
fine.
joining up, guys. Yeah, see you guys.
See you.
YouTube, thanks for joining up. Last stream of the week. We'll be back on Sunday for another one of these. But yeah, price is printing quite nicely. I'm not hunting at the moment, waiting for something to happen. Your daily flip, right? Nothing I can really do. Is this going to be a topic for the daily? Could be. I'm not expecting it to be, right? But at the moment, there's not enough volume, direction for me to do anything. So as it stands, I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for price to do something, and then I'll get onto, you know, the charts maybe during New York, and yeah, we'll see what kind of is happening around then. But until then, all right, gotta relax, have a good weekend, and come back to the charts fresh on Monday. So yeah, cool. I'll speak to you all on Sunday, and have a good weekend. And Peace.